Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.
So Trump was not done winning. Not done winning. He's not tired of winning. Not yet. Still got more winning. ILA president, the International Longshoremen's Association, ILA president Harold Daggett credits President Donald Trump's support as key to helping his members secure greatest contracts. So if you remember, the longshoremen went on strike for a brief period in the run-up to November. That was the famous video where he said, "I'll cripple you. I'll cripple you." And they threatened to basically
I'll cut you open
down
and show you all the black stuff you got inside your belly.
Exactly. The leader of the International Longshoremen's Association has a message to incoming President Donald J. Trump. This is from their own website, by the way, so this is their press release of sorts. You have proven yourself to be one of the best friends of working men and women in the United States. Harold J. Daggett, international president of the ILA, cites a face-to-face meeting he had with President-elect Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago in Florida on December 12, 2024, joined by his son and ILA Executive Vice President Dennis Daggett, as the chief reason the ILA was able to win protections against automation for his 85,000 members and negotiate a tentative master contract agreements.
Boy, I bet he had to learn how to fight growing up.
Yeah,
with that.
Dennis Daggett, yeah. Denny Daggett. Yeah, you really, I mean, you name your kid Dennis when your last name is Daggett. I feel like if I named my kid Wally, Wally Weiss, yeah. It's kind of tough, but
reporter at the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So if you remember, the first phase of the contract negotiation that they won was a wage increase, but the automation was up in the air. Well, apparently they were able to win protections against automation as part of the second phase of this deal. President Trump clearly demonstrated his unwavering support for our ILA union and longshore workers with his statement heard round the world, backing our position to protect American longshore jobs against the ravages of automated terminals, said ILA President Daggett. President Trump's bold stance helped prevent a second coast-wide strike at ports from Maine to Texas that would have occurred on January 15th, 2024, if a tentative agreement was not reached. So there you go. And we remember covering this back in October where we said there is a possibility for another strike in January because the automation part of this was unsettled after the first round of negotiations. So just like the ceasefire, you see a pattern, right? When things were going to be a problem for Donald Trump on day one of his presidency, he made sure to nip it in the bud, right? Made sure it got settled. So whether it's sending someone to Israel or getting this strike settled here, he seemed to have done both. Sorry, go ahead.
So is that a miss? Is that a typo? 2024? Did they mean 2025?
Oh, they must have meant 2025. Yeah, they must have meant that. Yeah, good catch. Good catch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that would be today. And there was a second phase of the negotiations that was empty. So, yes, that would have been 2025. At the mid-December meeting in Mar-a-Lago.
Fucking bonehead longshoreman, am I right?
Longshoreman, yeah.
Fucking bunch of Daggets.
There's a reason we ain't poets. Yeah. At the mid-December meeting in Mar-a-Lago, the two ILA leaders met for 2 hours with President-elect Trump and spelled out the cause for an impasse in negotiations with the ocean carriers represented by United States Maritime Alliance, USMX. In the presence of ILA President Harold Daggett and Executive Vice President Dennis Daggett, President Trump, man, they're really proud of those names, too. They say them all over.
Every time you say it, it makes me laugh.
And they repeat the full name every time. Usually in like newspapers, they'll say Mr. Daggett and this and that. Yeah. In the presence of Harold Daggett and Dennis Daggett, President Trump spoke by telephone to USMX officials to express his support for the ILA. He then posted a powerful message on Truth Social announcing his support for the ILA. There's been a lot of discussion having to do with automation on United States docks, President Trump wrote. I've studied automation and know just about everything there is to know about it. The amount of money saved is nowhere near the distress, hurt, and harm it causes for American workers, in this case, our longshoremen. Foreign companies have made a fortune in the U.S. by giving them access to our markets. They shouldn't be looking for every last penny, knowing how many families are hurt. Wow, look at that. The ILA leader said his union now regards President Donald Trump as one of the greatest friends of organized labor and champion of the working men and women of this country. He's a hero to our ILA union and members, said the ILA leader. President Trump gets full credit for our successful tentative master contract agreement, said ILA President Daggett. So just like, I mean, obviously a less severe circumstance in ways, but just as, the Israel-Gaza war was going to cause him headaches if it was going on when he took office, a strike like this would have been a major headache too, and so he made sure he got it taken care of, and thankfully, he intervened on behalf of the workers, it seemed, to get the automation protections, as opposed to when Biden intervened, it was on behalf of management to crush the railroad.
Yeah, if it was up to Biden, he would just crush their strike and tell them, "Fuck you, go back to work," and that's it. That's that. I mean, they still haven't cleaned up East Palestine or the water in Flint. I mean, for fuck's sake. Go ahead.
Well, this is the big question going forward. We've been speculating on this for years. I wrote a speculative article, I don't know, a couple of years ago, that really, if you're a progressive and you want to continue to work within the two-party system, you're probably better off trying to move the Republicans on economics than to stay within the Democrats and try to move them on culture. Because this is not the first time this happened. The bases of the two parties flipped in the 19th century. So it can happen again, because ultimately, if your base is working class people, you can't just do Reaganomics indefinitely. Ultimately, now those are your voters. Now you own those voters. So this is the question. How far does this extend? Are they going to support the Amazon workers? Are they going to put an anti-union maniac at the NLRB? So far, so good. The person that he picked was a pro-labor person, more pro-labor than anybody expected. And what the Democrats are now are very much what Republicans used to be. The professional managerial class used to be Republicans. If you were a doctor, if you were a dentist in 1960, you were probably a Republican. Now you're probably a Democrat. So, yeah, we could be seeing, we've already seen a political realignment. Is the Republican Party going to meet the moment and become a pro-labor party? Well, we'll see. I mean, Trump has done more for labor in the last few months than the Democrats have done in many years.
It comes down to let me play this for you.
On the other hand, Trump is so new that this is the second point, for every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA, we will pick up 2-3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin. The voters who are most out there figuring out what to do are not the blue-collar Democrats. They are the college-educated Republicans who lean Republican or are independent and in the suburbs.
So that is the Democrats. That's the Democrats there just admitting that they're no longer the party of work. I don't know. Could you hear that properly?
Yeah. Well, that's the famous.
Everybody knows that famous clip. Yeah, no, they hate working class people. They hate them. The reason they have focused so much hatred on the white working class is because you can't do it to black and brown people anymore. They hate workers. So they focus that it's workers in general. They just hate working class people, but they focus it on white working class people to make it seem like what they hate is racism. They don't hate it's not about racism. You don't like working people. You hate them. You see them all as Archie bunkers. They always have. This is how I always describe it. The Democratic Party today is Mike and Gloria come to power. That is very much Mike and Gloria's party. When Clinton came in, that was the triumph of that generation. And what was the first thing they wanted to do? Get Archie out of the party. Get everyone like him out of the party.
Yes. Wow. Look at you. And it turns out Mike actually became the biggest shit lib in the world, and now he had to check himself into a facility.
Well,
Right. Don't hear from him anymore.
and that's not saying, oh no, racism is great. That's how they saw working class people in general. They're all Archie Bunkers. Obviously, that's a cliche and a stereotype, but that's how they saw them.
And they ignored the fact that victories and economic victories for the working class benefited people of color, and it benefited gay people, and it benefited trans people. They lost sight of that.
Right. No, they made it as if this is all about white people.
Right.
And that is why, down to this day, they've had to get increasingly bizarre in their performative outrage around identity issues, because they have nothing else to pretend to be left about.
You know, it's like that book I read by the she was, I think, Asian, and about the professional managerial class, and she was the one who made the point.
Yeah, Catherine Liu, yeah.
Yeah, Catherine Liu. I had her on the show. Oh, yeah, that's it. And she said that, the majority of poor people in America are white, and that if you help poor people, you're also going to help poor black people. And so this just focusing a race-based politics is a mistake, which was kind of what I was trying to tell. Not kind of, it's exactly what I was trying to tell Cornel West when he came on my show. That's a loser. If you want to go be a black activist, that's fine. But if you want to talk about, if you want to be a president and lead with white supremacy, you're calling most of the poor people in America white supremacists. That's how they hear it.
Right.
And they're not supreme. They don't feel supreme to anybody.
Right. It's because they abandoned the idea of really attacking the underpinnings of the economic system.
That's it.
If you're trying to be buddies with Wall Street, but you want to have the pose of being a left radical fighting injustice, where do you go with that? If you're not going to talk about class, you're not anti-management, you're not anti-capital, you're not even anti-billionaire. You literally put someone on stage at your convention to brag about how he's a real billionaire. This is how far you've gone from any economic theory of politics. Where do you go? It's got to be increasingly bizarre, out of touch, and arcane identitarian signaling, because otherwise, what would you talk about if you're a left with no economic theory?
That's right.
Please clap.
Please clap. All right.
Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.